Welcome to the Rooted and Rising Collective, the podcast where faith and business meet. We're Joanna and Krista, two friends learning to build our lives and work, not on hustle culture or worldly success, but on the unique gifts God has given us. If you got 20 minutes, grab a coffee and join us. Whether you're a coach, consultant, or solopreneur, these conversations are for anyone who wants to stay rooted in Christ and rise into the calling He's placed on their life. Well, Joanna, we are back again.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's been a really busy few weeks, but really good overall. Glad to be
Yeah,
back.
that's busy is what that's the thing, right? Like we always want to be busy. It's always so funny when you ask someone and they're like legitimately busy. You can read it in the way they say it because it's like a gift and a curse. It's like there's a
Yes,
heaviness and an excitement all at the same time.
I'm glad you said that because it is both, and it's not a negative thing to be busy. It can be quite a fun adventure. And somebody said that to me the other day, actually. They're like, kind of take it as an adventure to get out of your comfort zone because we like to sometimes create our own busyness and have it sometimes busyness can just be distraction, but we want it to actually be something purposeful and meaningful. So sometimes I find myself wanting to be intentional with the way I am busy. And then sometimes I'm like, wait a second, this is not what I wanted, or it is a distraction. But anywho, so going back to what somebody said to me the other day, they're like, hey, just take it as an adventure, something new, be excited about the change because being able to adapt is really important. So,
I love that you said that because one of the things that we were going to talk about today is gratitude and this concept of like not necessarily just being thankful for what you have, but being thankful for the growth that you're doing, what you've grown through essentially. And growth happens when you're busy, right? When you're stretched, when you
mhm,
are trying to navigate the up from the downs. And to your point, like real busy, not I'm just making myself look busy
right.
because that's a I don't even I mean that's something we could talk about maybe today, maybe for another time, but that is a real culprit, is like just filling your calendar with things that like make you feel busy versus
Mhm.
actually accomplishing things. So that's a topic that we could talk about probably
That's
for
a good
days.
one.
But while we're here, just gratitude in learning, and so, or not in learning, but in growing and being busy and I guess learning too. Um, so for you, even in these last few weeks, even in these last few months, right, since
Hmm.
Women's Synergy started, what are some things that you could just point to as something that you are grateful for that maybe you didn't see coming? And then let's add like another like layer to that, like also something that maybe you 5, 10 years ago probably wouldn't necessarily have sat around and been grateful for, but you realize now that it's something worth being grateful for. Not to put you on this, actually
Oh,
to
that
put
is
you on the spot.
that's
Yeah.
definitely putting me on the spot, but I like it. Wow. Okay, so that was a packed and loaded couple questions in there. So make sure I keep me honest and I answer them all.
All right. All right.
So the first one is you had asked me what I'm grateful for that has happened just recently, and
Yeah,
then
like
going
in
back.
your purview. Yeah.
Okay, so I was not anticipating growing as quickly as I have been blessed to grow with Women's Synergy Consulting. That space has definitely morphed into something pretty cool and special. I can see a vision for the near future of where the Lord is taking me and how He is guiding the ship because I definitely have given it to Him. I said, I cannot do this alone. You are definitely stretching me, helping me grow, and learning is a huge part. You had mentioned maybe learning as well. Yes, you have to be in the mindset of learning all the time. just because you may have experience in something or you feel like you have experience, you quickly learn fast, hopefully, that you're open minded to it at least. There's going to be a lot of different things that come your way that you weren't anticipating. And I am so excited that there are ladies that have entrusted me to help guide them and teach them and mold them to be successful in launching their, ideas and business endeavors. So that has been really cool. And I really think taking it one day at a time is all I can do right now because the growth rate is pretty quick. As far as looking back on the past and then bringing something forward that I'm thankful for that I otherwise would not have been, oh, there's a whole plethora of those. But the most important one for me is getting out in front of people and being the face of something. I like to be in the background. I like to be what's called a quiet noise. I can make noise and I can be loud, but I don't like to do it in such a showy way. I prefer to be in the background and help others grow and succeed and bring their talents to life. But lately, it's something the Lord has asked of me to come out in front of everybody and say, hey, I've got these skill sets that I want to bestow on other ladies and help guide them and teach them and help them grow. And I had a really amazing consultation earlier today with a young lady who is super excited about starting a nonprofit business and came to me for consulting services. And I am just so honored to be a part of that because it's not just about a for-profit opportunity. There are nonprofit businesses out there every day that are making a huge impact, if not bigger than for-profit businesses. So they're equally important, and if not more important sometimes, depending on the situation. So I just want to say thank you for those questions and the opportunity to share it with others because it is something new for me. And I am going to throw the ball back to you. You tell me about something recently that you're grateful for, and then looking back in the past and bringing it forward and what you're grateful for now.
Man, let me tell you, I love asking questions. And let me tell you where my pitfall is I always ask questions that I have zero idea how I would answer. So yeah, that's just the nature of the game, I guess. But okay, something that I am grateful for as of recent, I have a client that I'm working with who is doing a lot of essentially we had a project that we were going to work on together, and it has turned into the ultimate discovery work for him. And every time we meet, there is something more to be uncovered and something to dig deeper in. And at first, it made me a little bit uncomfortable because we weren't ever really closing the loop of what we had talked about previously. And so he's in the coaching world and he's expanding his client base, or actually you would say probably less expansion and more narrowing down of his client base. And the excitement in him figuring out exactly what he has to offer has kind of been this space where I've got to see God work through somebody, and simultaneously those conversations that we're having, those deep focus work blocks that we're doing is actually bringing a lot of clarity to me as well. And so I'm super grateful for that. Something that I probably would have not ever been grateful for once upon a time that I see now. So when I first started Conscientious Collab, officially I started it maybe a little bit over a year ago. And when I say officially I started it, I mean I quit my job and I decided this is what I was going to pursue full time. And I'm somebody who I never once had a gap in work history. I was always a person who had a job lined up, and I was that Friday leaving my job, and if I was moving to another one, I was starting on the next Monday. So that was kind of the way that I had worked. And so I had about 2.5 months of nothing. No clients, just
Ooh,
building. I know, I know. I'm not necessarily here like suggesting it. I did like make sure I had saved for that, and I was, I had set myself up for that. But that doesn't make it any less scary, because something about knowing that you save for that does not make you excited to spend. Like if something is not coming in to
right.
replace that, that is scary. Um, but honestly, having that time really gave me the space and the ability to kind of reset my mind around what it is that I actually could offer. And it kind of gave me this opportunity to really understand what I was naturally born to do and be okay with that. And that is something that I just did not have when I was, going and working for other people and trying to fit everybody else's box of what they were looking
Right.
for. Which now that I look back on it, every single job description that I've ever fit, or let me rephrase that I've ever embodied, every title, every position that I ever had, not one of them was like fully authentic. Like I had to compromise somewhere in the spaces of what I was good at or what lit me up, and that time off really gave me the opportunity to be okay, not pushing myself in that way, which is something we can unpack a completely different day. But
I
that in and
definitely
of
want
itself,
to,
yeah,
because
yeah,
the path for me is to eventually pull away one day from the corporate world. I want to
hmm
stay learning and growing. And I just want you to know I'm encouraged by it.
yeah.
And so
Oh, well,
maybe you leading the way is going to help me uh, do
well,
that too.
it's a journey, because like we're not taught. Well, I wasn't taught. Like I always taught, like if you weren't hustling, working hard, like rolling your sleeves up, sweating, dying on the inside for something, that you
Right.
weren't working hard enough. And so, yeah, to have that time just to kind of deconstruct what it means to be good at something and work. I don't even want to say work hard, but work well, and being okay
With
with not,
intention.
yeah, and being okay with not being stressed out.
Yeah,
It's
and have purpose,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
you actually are coming to the table authentically yourself with your skills that you have embodied over the years, who you are, like you said, you're showing up, who you were born to be, who are you, your purpose in life, what God has given you is now able to be displayed in an edifying way. He's able to use you in such a unique, awesome, I can't describe it, but you are not, like you said, fitting the mold, trying to show up at work for other people that don't care if you show up. They can always replace us,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So for us, well, you and I at the time prior to getting to leave the corporate world, I think now you're in a better place and you're paving the way for women to do the same, like really utilize their skills and talents and not be afraid. Because being a single mom and having a son, for me, it's so important that I am smart about how I have an exit plan. But then I have to take a step back and say, wait a second, am I putting the parameters on God, saying, this is what I need, Lord? Please make it happen, because I don't want to just leave and not have an income coming in. So I have to also have faith and step out into it. And I think that's kind of something I'm learning and growing and having a heartful of gratitude for toward the Lord, because you just got me going. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. You got me
yes. No,
going.
keep going, keep going.
Okay, here we go. So, it's just such a beautiful thing to be reminded by another fellow believer that you stepped away and for 2 months you didn't have anything coming in, and you were probably on the edge of your seat thinking, what is about to happen, Lord? Do I have to go get another job, or are you
hmm
going to provide? And ultimately, you're successful. He's provided and he's going to provide. So I am over here thinking to myself, ooh, this is like this is kind of a little nudge. It's kind of a little nudge getting me ready and focused on Christ, not on my own self, because sometimes it's easy to do. We want to focus on us and how we're going to accomplish something. But in this time, in this moment, I have to kind of put it back on him and say, okay, I'm taking a step back. So, anyways, you got me on that uh, beautiful tangent. So, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think it's always inspiring when it's it's a lot more inspiring to hear someone else doing it. It's a lot more scary to do it oneself. To really try to sit in that and realize that I think for me it was the more I start to understand the unique way that God crafted Krista, the unique way that he crafted me, the more I understood what I could bring to the table. And the more I started to understand, and we talked about the spiritual gifts, in a previous episode, but the more I started to understand that I believe that income follows impact. That's the way that I'm trying to at least think about it, and whether or not it's gonna like serve me for my life and that's gonna make everything great, who knows. But I do think that when we focus on the impact that we can make based off of the way that God intended us to create impact from the unique I guess fingerprint or whatever. That's not the word. Prints, the uniqueness. Fingerprint's not it because that's just talking about fingerprints. But the unique way that he, like I said, crafted us, that impact is unique. Krista is the only person who's going to have that exact impact. Joanna is the only person who's capable of having that exact impact because the way that you were created, although we are all human, there's so many different variables that each of us possess out of creation. So there's so many different things in your mind, in your heart, in your being, in your soul, right? And I feel like if we focus on that, God will provide. God will take care of the rest.
Absolutely, he will. And I need to take this and accept what you're saying as true because it is. It is complete truth. And I am thankful that you are encouraging me through this process. And I hope that the listeners are also encouraged because this is really raw right now. Like, there is no script. This is just coming from our hearts and flowing. And, it's vulnerable at the same time, especially trying to be real with ourselves and say, there's more to offer to others. And why am I holding myself back? Like, that's my thought process about me right now. Like, why am I holding myself back from being able to just say, Lord, take the wheel, like fully take it. Let me step out into, Women's Synergy Consulting full time. Let me do Rooted and Rising Collective full time and do what you have asked us to do because it's in the back of my head. I know what he's asking. And the obedience part is super important. And I think you did a really good job displaying obedience. So I appreciate the encouragement and I'm looking forward to partaking in that hopefully sooner rather than later. So
Well,
we'll see what God has.
Yes, I'm super excited for you. I feel like we will all maybe hopefully get to that point where we recognize this was something, and since we're talking about gratitude, and I know these are shorter segments, we can kind of wrap this up with this, but something that I'm grateful for having learned as well this past year that's tying into what we're talking about is, I used to really try to play small or try to play by somebody else's rule book and try to fit every narrative that was placed upon me, right? And in this journey of stepping out, trying to be obedient, don't get me wrong, is hard. There were times, and there still are times where, your lifestyle changes a bit when you don't have a set income coming in all the time. But I really did realize that if I knew how God created me, if I had that knowledge, and here's the deal, once you recognize your gifts, once you understand the unique print that is you, if you don't live from that, then it's kind of, this is how I interpret it. It's like a slap in the face to your creator. It's kind of like saying, like, if you don't live from that with everything that you possibly can, and you don't shout that from the rooftops every day and just put out what you are capable of putting out, there's a reason you were created that way. And if you're not doing it, you're kind of saying that your ideas are better than God's ideas, or your ideas are better than your creator's. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, that is.
Because there are so many times I was like, well, I wish my gift was this. I'll just work harder and this will look like my gift. Well, no, that's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? I wish that I was great at X, Y, and Z. And sure, let me rephrase that. That's how that works in the worldly perspective. You can always work harder to put out this, but I imagine that God has a plan for all of us, and that is why we were created the way we were created. And if we aren't stepping out in that, it's one thing to not know, right, that what you're created for, but if once you kind of know, and if you're not stepping out in that, we got to have some heart transformation conversations at that point.
And that's great for another episode.
Yes. So that's this month.
That was really beautifully well said, Krista. Thank you for everything that you shared. I feel like today's episode has really given me something personally to consider and pray about.
I love that, Joanna. These are always fun. Again, these aren't scripted, so we don't know what we're gonna end up with. But thanks, guys, for listening. We appreciate you.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for spending part of your day with us here at the Rooted and Rising Collective. We hope this conversation encouraged you to stay rooted in Christ as you rise into your calling. If it spoke to you, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe so you can grab a coffee and join us again. Until next time, keep building with Him at the center.